Today I'll be talking with Van Burnham, Executive Director at Mental Health and Addiction Certification Board of Oregon. Hey Van, I'm really looking forward to hearing about all your Caspio and no-code journey. So please share with everyone a little bit about yourself, your organization, and your background.
So we're the Mental Health and Addiction Certification Board of Oregon, and what we do is we credential alcohol and drug counselors and mental health counselors inside of the state of Oregon. And so on our website, we have a public data set that's used by everyone across the state. And it's important that we have this public data set because people use it for Medicaid reimbursement. Employers use it to make sure that their employees can actually come to work based off of their expiration date. So in 2014, I started exploring other softwares to fix some issues that we were having with our public registry. So the issue that we were having is that the entire system was based off of Microsoft Access, and nobody could use Microsoft Access except for one person at our agency. And it was such an arduous process for him to take our Access database, run it through our website because we had some sort of an SQL code, and then put it up on the public registry that we could only do it once a week. And the whole process took him an hour, and he would run it every Friday at 5 p.m. So basically what that means is from Friday at 5 p.m. until the next Friday at 5 p.m., we had this static public registry that the entire state was using for Medicaid reimbursement and to make sure that staff could come to work. So throughout the day, throughout the week, we would get phone calls saying, hey, I'm expired. Can you update me on the registry? Or Medicaid would call and say, hey, I'm trying to get billing reimbursement, but this person's expired. So we were looking for a solution that would allow not only this individual to update the registry, but all of the staff to update the public registry. And I went and I looked at various different softwares, and I really liked Caspio because I felt like it gave us a lot of flexibility to build our own staff portal. So our own staff portal would allow staff to log in and essentially change basic information, change expiration dates, maybe update people's names. And we were able to build out this portal. And now our public registry moved from Microsoft Access to a table inside of Caspio. Now it's a living and breathing registry that we previously never had before. And what this has done is it's allowed us to build in tasks to accomplish things that we previously had to maybe send out a notice in the mail or email. So maybe, hey, your credential's getting ready to expire. Previously, that was a postcard that we would mail out. Well, we figured out how to make a task with Caspio that says, if expiration date is less than 30 days, send email. And from there, I mean, we just really got rolling with automation. Somebody sends us a piece of mail, we open it, we log it into Caspio, they get a text message, they get an email, and now they don't call us and say, hey, did you receive that piece of mail that I sent you? So it's been an amazingly useful tool for us.
Van, can you remember, I know it's going back quite a few years now, you've been a customer for 6 years. So can you remember what the deciding factor was when you were looking at no-code suppliers, why you selected Caspio?
Well, at the time, there wasn't a whole lot of options out there, but I remember looking at Caspio, and I remember opening a chat and talking to somebody in the chat, and somebody called me on the phone, and they ran me through how to build what it is that I was trying to build, which was, again, this is our public database that we display to the entire state. And we had that thing up and running in probably 15 minutes.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, okay, well, if I can do this in 15 minutes, then the rest of the staff can do this. And then from there, it was just a matter of presenting it to the board of directors to vote on, and it passed, and we've just really taken off with it ever since.
No, it's good to hear. So who are the end users there, Van?
Well, primarily our counselors. So our counselors use the registry, and like I said, they receive automatic emails from us. So if they're getting ready to expire, they may receive an email. We get a piece of mail from them. They may receive an email. But we've been able to expand it sort of statewide. So it's not just the counselors anymore. Maybe it's employers that are using it. Maybe it's people that are looking for jobs, or maybe it's people that are teaching classes that meet the requirements of our certifications. So with Caspio, we built a statewide jobs website that's specific to behavioral health,
Yeah.
but it gets probably 50 or 60 postings every day. And it's the most popular behavioral health jobs page in the state of Oregon. And same for our education page. So we have a page where instructors can go and post their courses, kind of like a bulletin board. They post their courses that meet our requirements, and then counselors can go and say, I'm looking for this course or that course. They can run a search in the software, find it directly on our website, and then reach out to the instructor without ever having to call us. And that's one of the things that we really were able to utilize with Caspio is how do we reduce phone calls? Because we're a small staff organization. We have 8 people and we have over 13,000 counselors.
Yeah.
So if we can't figure out ways to reduce phone calls, then that's all we'll ever do is answer the phone.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So interestingly, you said at the beginning about your background is really in like the accounting side. But how did you fall into kind of the tech side and the no code side? What was the transition there?
Well, I have sort of an advantage because computers were my original background. So I built my first computer when I was 12.
Wow.
And back when you used to use jumpers on the motherboard.
Yeah.
And when I went to Ole Miss, my original major was computer science, but the department at the time was pretty dismal, and I swapped to accounting. But I retained a lot of that information. So Caspio, coming from a computer brain, just really made a lot of sense with me. Even though I wasn't seeing the back end of it, I had a great understanding of what's going on in the back end. And because of that, I mean, it has just helped me tremendously. But at the same time, I've got a staff right now who's not very computer skilled, who's learning Caspio, and he gets it too. He understands the basics of it. And that's what's so great about it is because anybody can use it. So you can have somebody that has very little skill, like my staff, and then you have somebody like me who's sort of naturally computer inclined.
Yep.
And together we can make some sort of product. And I have never been able to not solve a problem with Caspio. So even if I have to open a chat and say, hey, I need a piece of code that'll
Yep.
solve this one issue, they're always there and they've always helped me figure it out. And there's never been a challenge that I couldn't solve.
Oh, it's great to hear that, Van. And I was going to ask you, mentioned about the reduction in the phone calls. What type of return on investment are you seeing? Is it efficiency saving predominantly, or are you seeing some hard dollar savings, or maybe a combination of both?
Oh, I mean, I would say it's tremendous because it saved me at least one staff. And not only that, it saves all of the staff from having to answer phone calls.
Yeah.
Because we do automation with everything. Like I said, we receive a piece of mail, maybe somebody mails in an application, we log it into the system, and most of us work remote, and now everybody in the system can see that application arrived by mail. And at the same time, we enter the person's email and phone number, and the person gets a notification, they get an SMS, and they don't call us. And everything is like that. All of our notices go out like that. So you have pretty much any communication with us and you're getting this constant feedback, and it's all through a series of tasks that we built in with Caspio. And honestly, I don't really even alter them anymore. Over time, we've just sort of perfected them.
Yeah. So, like I said before, you've been with the Caspio now for 6 years. So what's your experience of working with the Caspio team over that time?
I think it's been wonderful. Like I said, there's never an issue that I've come across that I haven't been able to solve with Caspio. And sometimes we'll be in chats and we'll sort of have these moments together where we both sort of stumble across the answer.
Yeah.
What's neat about the software is you're not confined like you are with other softwares. You can really think outside of the box and come up with intuitive solutions to solve your issues. And in most cases, there's more than one solution. And it's figuring out what's the best way to solve this problem that also meets my needs. And the staff have always been very helpful with that. In fact, I've had several sort of phone chats with people where we'll open up a Zoom and they'll walk me through it.
Yeah.
This was a long time ago, and you could buy you used to could buy like a special meeting with the staff. So
No, it's I think what's interesting is that the more of these interviews that I do with customers, some people like yourself are just naturally tech savvy. Some people are really not, and that's when they use our professional services team to support them and get them up to speed, etc. So if anybody's thinking about looking at no code and Caspio, what advice would you give them?
um, I would say open a free trial. That's what got me in, and I have shown this software to so many other similar organizations, and that's always the first thing I say is open a trial.
Yeah.
Open a chat with customer service, give me a call, and you'll be able to solve your issues,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and then evaluate which plan you're going to need and go from there.
No, it's great advice, Van. And really, my last question is: I know it's always difficult to look ahead, but how do you see Caspio no code helping you further down the path?
Well, what Caspio has really allowed us to do is to take a bunch of data that we receive from our counselors and compile it into tables, and then have those tables generate these real-time data analytics. And these data analytics sit on our website, and they're used all across the state. And the analytics, they have calculations in them, so I can go and I can see how many new people came into our system last month, what was the average age of that person, what's the demographics, what's their gender, what's their highest level of education. I can break it down by counties across the state. And in the behavioral health world, that data doesn't really exist.
Mhm.
So that's what we've been using to drive the behavioral health workforce in the state of Oregon for the last 4 or 5 years. And people use it for trainings, people use it for grant writing. We use it for grant writing. And in fact, this year we've gotten over $3 million in grants
Wow.
just off of, well, not just off of, but largely off of the data from these reports. That's been the backing for all of our grant requests, because when a grant comes out and there's a real need of services, and we've got a software that's generating real-time analytics, and we can put together real historical data, trend data from years across the board and say, here's where the gaps in services are, here's what our population looks like, and here's how we're going to address the needs that your grant is trying to solve. It's hard for grant writers to say no when you have that kind of data. So as far as going forward, I see Caspio really helping develop behavioral health in the state of Oregon.
Yeah.
And, helping our business grow. We've grown substantially over the last few years. COVID has something to do with it. Obviously, there's a lot of money in behavioral health right now.
Yeah.
But because of Caspio, we've got the data to back up the needs of the grants.
Yeah. Outstanding. Well, Van, thank you for your time and sharing your Caspio no-code journey. I'm sure everyone's going to find it really interesting. And thank you for being a Caspio customer. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much, Paul.